Good morning, good evening, and good day. You're listening to Dramabuds, an anime podcast. So hello everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Dramabuds, which is a first impressions episode. February was the month of premieres. Like every week, 2 new shows started airing, and I thought, might as well review all of them. Might as well watch nearly everything that's airing at the moment. Crazy, but if it's available, I'll watch it. So I will be reviewing the first 6 episodes of 25-21 and forecasting Love and Weather. And for the next few episodes, I will be reviewing a lot of the new shows that started airing last month. So, the process of making this, I started a kdrama diary. I used to not take notes on my thoughts before because it felt too serious. It was like, oh my god, what am I? I'm me writing a journal on okay, so on episode 3, I felt a bit lost with the narrative choices. That's a bit much. But I realized as I'm doing these first impressions episodes, I need to keep track of my thoughts because if I just hold it all in until I make the episode, I will not remember a single thing. So you are listening to me documenting my journey with the show, essentially. Let's start with 25-21, starring Kim Tae-ri and Nam Joo-hyuk. So background on the show, this is the writer of Search WWW and, the rumored ghostwriter of Mr. Sunshine. Look, let's all admit it. Mr. Sunshine does not feel like a Kim Un-suk work. It's a little too good. There's something different about Mr. Sunshine, and Kwon Do-eun is the rumored ghostwriter of Mr. Sunshine. And we have also the director of Search WWW, You Are My Spring, and also the co-director of Mr. Sunshine and The King Eternal Monarch. So these two are Kim Un-suk and Lee Ung-bok alums, essentially. They're the next generation of them. So they've been working together a lot. And you know what? The director, more on him later, but I adore this guy's directing so much. And 25-21 stars Kim Tae-ri, who we've watched in Mr. Sunshine, the man, the myth, the legend. Go Asian, no matter how much I didn't like her character at times, Kim Tae-ri delivered the hell out of it. And she was at Lee Byung-hun's level, for this being her first drama. She was with him blow by blow, so good. And Nam Joo-hyuk, who has been infamous, I guess, in the past year or 2 years because of Startup. I haven't hidden that I didn't like that show and I didn't like his character. But, he's here. And I also watched him in The Light in Your Eyes. Yeah. We'll talk about both of them later. So they started out the show with a present day thing with Nahido, Kim Tae-ri's character, Nahido's daughter, running away from a ballet competition, whatever, and then running off to her grandma and finding her mom's old diary, and that's how we're introduced to Nahido and Baek Jin of the 90s. So essentially, all of their time is a big flashback as her daughter is, reading through her mom's diary over the episodes. Honestly, no, it was a bit of a dry start. It was very quiet and very, out of place at the moment. It wasn't what I expected. But interestingly enough, it kind of tells you that Baek Jin and Nahido don't end up together. Or do they? Does it tell you that? Who knows? They haven't, of course, revealed that in episode 6. But honestly, I did not care about, the child. I didn't care so much about starting with the child. But we'll see where they go with that narrative choice. Then we met Nahido, Kim Tae-ri as Nahido. Look, I have seen maximum restraint from Kim Tae-ri in Mr. Sunshine. Okay? Her as Go Asian is just pitch perfect portrayal of that character. And because I've seen her on the opposite end of the spectrum, I really didn't mind that Nahido was so loud and so screechy. She's very Doksun of Reply 1988, which, I mean, a lot of people are endeared by that character. Well, I understand that. And she is the way that she is. I will not fault her for being the way that she is. She's a high schooler. Nahido is also a high schooler. I'm a bit lenient with those characters when they're young, because kids, that's fine. But it's just a bit screechy. It's just a bit loud. It just hurts my ears a little bit. And it's like watching, Kim Tae-ri constantly screeching at a frequency, at a pitch that is difficult for even me. I mean, my throat hurts for her. I empathize with the throat pain that she must have experienced while having to film those scenes. As the episodes, went on and we saw more of her emotional side and everything, Nahido toned down a lot. And honestly, as of episode 3, when I was watching episode 3, she was still the main character that I liked the least, which is very surprising because I came into this loving Kim Tae-ri, wanting to love her, and then I was like, this kid is annoying. And her story with idolizing Go Yurim, played by Bona of Cosmic Girls, the whole idol worship storyline, I really it was very, very interesting, actually. Very interesting to watch. It was kind of annoying to see her put someone on a pedestal. And then, that's why they say don't meet your idols. Never meet your idols. Because you're developing this parasocial relationship with them where you expect them to be one way, but they're not. They're not that way. And just seeing her deal with the cognitive dissonance of I thought you would be this kind of person, but you're not. And is she mad? Is she mad at Go Yurim? Not really, but just disappointed for not being the idol that she thought she would be. That's a you problem. It's not Go Yurim's fault that she is not who you wanted her to be. It was a little annoying, but also very, very interesting to watch. And I was super interested in seeing how their relationship would develop now that, Go Yurim's off the pedestal. You are not the person I idolized. You are your own person. And they're starting this rivalry now. Now that Nahido is rising up to the top in terms of her own confidence in her fencing abilities and everything. Right. Forgot to introduce Nahido. High schooler, she's a fencing prodigy as a kid, but then her skills kind of stagnated and she super idolizes Go Yurim for being a gold medalist fencer and even did a bunch of crazy things just to be able to transfer to Go Yurim's school and train with her, and also her coach in the school, who is honestly, moving on to that, I love Nahido's relationship with her coach. She is finally getting the emotional support that she never got from her own mother. Another factor about Nahido's character, the typical mother does not support her dreams, thinks she's not a good fencer, and that's why she was never able to succeed until now, blah, 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 stuff like that. But, secretly, of course, her mom still cares for her and shows her concern in a roundabout way, but still ultimately wants her daughter to succeed. It's not malicious. It's just, how it is. So it's Nahido so far. I love her. And it really helps that Kim Tae-ri is just a full voice, body, face, eyes, soul actress. Her whole being embodies Nahido. And it just helps. This is a character that, if played by someone not as good as Kim Tae-ri, I would have really been annoyed by, just because I just really don't like loud, screechy characters. But Kim Tae-ri just delivers it so well. When she has to be comedic, she's so comedic. When she has to be emotional, she's so emotional. I have seen her as Go Asian with the lowest possible voice, just pitch perfect, restraint. And seeing her as loud and rash and kind of just insane Nahido, I support it. I love it. I love to see it. So, yes, sometimes, this is what I'm looking for when the actor elevates the role. Just breathes life into it. So, love it. And then we have Nam Joo-hyuk as Baekhyun. And honestly, his performance, let's go to his acting first before I get into the character. I've seen this from Nam Joo-hyuk before, in The Light in Your Eyes. I mean, very similar even. Wasn't his character in The Light in Your Eyes a reporter also? Yeah, something like that. But aside from my apprehensions and all that, like, whatever, he's here, we gotta watch him. And it helps that I just loved his character immediately. I immediately loved Baek Jin. Like, his story is so, yeah, I just feel for him. And he is the epitome of people who just got like trampled over by the times, by the whole IMF crisis. So his father's company went bankrupt and his parents had to get like a divorce so that the family wouldn't inherit all the debts, and then they had to scatter to different regions so that creditors wouldn't find them and stuff. So Baek Jin, he's 22 at the moment, and he has this younger brother in middle school who is staying with their aunt. And so Baek Jin is living alone, working part-time jobs, trying to find a stable job and just keep himself afloat. And he also tries to, pay for some expenses, like tries to give money to his aunt, like just to thank her for taking care of his younger brother. Also, just trying to keep in touch with his brother and trying to find his parents or trying to be in contact with them, because that's something we take for granted. The fact that phones are so easily accessible nowadays, we can just call whoever we want. Like, damn, back then, like, if you didn't know where someone was, you didn't know where someone was. You have no idea where to contact them. That's really sad. And it was like the reason why this one scene, I forgot which episode. In episode 3, he almost missed his dad who visited him in Seoul. Because, Nahido thought that he was a creditor, like the father was a creditor trying to hunt Baek Jin down and told Baek Jin to hide and stuff, but it was actually his dad. So Baek Jin chased his dad to Seoul Station, the bus station, before he went and left, and they missed each other for how long again. And I don't know, it's just the emotions of that moment was really heightened by the fact that this is something we take for granted. That people can just slip away and you wouldn't know back then. So yeah, when he finally met with his dad and, he said like, I will bring our family together. It's like, damn, can't believe he almost got me to cry there. That was really close. Just something very charming about these retro shows depicting the past. Like, things we take for granted because of technology nowadays. Very interesting. So by episode 6, like, the previous episodes really focused on him suffering and just receiving the brunt of his family separation. So I'm glad that by episode 6, they kind of, settled his brother somewhere safe where he can be taken care of. So Baek Jin doesn't have to worry about him. And as of now, like, he's moving on to his reporter storyline. I forgot why exactly he decided to be a reporter. I think it's because the broadcasting station said that they were going to hire high school graduates, like people who didn't have college degrees. And so he was a college student before his family went bankrupt. So yeah, he has no college degree. So I think that's why he ended up there. I will fact check maybe. Or yeah, the show will remind us. But yeah, so he's currently there while Nahido is in her national fencing team storyline. So yeah, like they are on the up and up. You are my starlight, you are my sunshine. 누가 무엇을 원하든 날 비춰주는 건 너야. And aside from the main leads, we also have the squad of kids that they're not a squad yet, because Go Yurim, once again played by Bona of Cosmic Girls, is now Nahido's like rival in fencing. From being her idol to being Nahido's rival. Not much to say about the others. They don't get nearly as much screen time as Nahido and Baek Jin, but I love them. I really love the rest of the main cast. Like when they were all introduced, the squad hasn't formed yet because they're not all friends. But when they were introduced slowly, I didn't feel like, why are we introducing these people? You know how I am about supporting casts. More on that in the other show we'll talk about today. But you know how I feel about like a lot of supporting characters. They all have their own story and whatever. It's like, that's just an excuse. You just say that, oh, yeah, let's enrich the world around the leads by focusing on the supporting cast. But that's just an excuse because the story for main leads is so thin, right? But not in this case. Like, I actually want more of the supporting cast. I want to see more of Moon Ji-woong and Ji Sung-wan. So Moon Ji-woong is played by Choi Hyun-wook, who I saw in Racket Boys. And Ji Sung-wan is played by Lee Joo-myung, who I've never seen before. Moon Ji-woong is like, I don't know, the pretty boy of class 7. He's just like the cool, charming high schooler who is somehow like the greatest flirt I have ever seen. His little love line flirtationship with Go Yurim is so cute. Usually I'd be annoyed by it, but like I find it so adorable because I don't know, just seeing a kid with so much game is so funny to me. And Yurim is just, she's into it. I mean, she's letting herself be flirted with. We love to see it. And then Ji Sung-wan is like his best friend since birth, who is like the top of the class president type. I can't even describe her as like super snarky and stuff. I can't fully describe her. I feel like we haven't met her as well as the others, but I like her character and I like the acting of this person who I've never seen before. So yeah, they've had a few squad moments. And is it weird that Baeki Jin, who was 22, is hanging out with a bunch of high schoolers? Maybe, but he doesn't have much of a choice. He doesn't really have other friends or other people to be with, so it's like, let's let him. It's fine. It's fine. He has no one to be with. Let's have a little pity for him. Yeah. A rare case of me actually wanting to see more of the supporting cast because I feel like the main lead story is meaty. It's substantial. And getting the supporting cast is like, you know, the cherry on top. It's not a filler for a lack of substance in the main plot or in the main character storylines. You know, this to me is a very character-driven show. Very character-driven. I feel like I know these people well enough and I am interested in their stories, and that's why I want to keep watching. So, yeah, it's really well written. I really like it so far. And the cherry on top of that is just the directing. This director, Jung Ji-yoon, so good. Even from like the opening of You Are My Spring, the first time I really watched him, I already knew I loved You Are My Spring for the directing. And even here, like, so vibrant, right? The colors, the music, everything. The world is so vibrant and so fun to watch. The first few episodes were super comedic. There were a lot of comedic moments where I felt that honestly it was a bit stronger than the emotional moments. And then over time, like the emotional stuff, well, they happened more frequently. I feel like we got deeper into the characters and their struggles and stuff. And it became kind of weird to have these super comedic gags, which I think they did the comedy just to break the heaviness because the show is not trying to be heavy. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the mood management. Okay, aside from that, this director, their shots, everything's so creative. In episode 5, there was a sequence where like Hido was going through a fencing bout. She was in a fencing bout. And that was like, those shots were interspersed with shots of Baeki Jin running to his brother and stuff. It's just very creatively done. I just really love the directing of this show. To me, this is Baek Sang best director worthy. If he doesn't get at least nominated for this, I will question that whole award giving body. So good. So good. 세상이 환하게 보여. So, the relationship between the main leads. As of episode 4, they kind of went. I mean, it's not romantic. It's not romantic yet. We know it's going to be romantic, but like, dude, she's a high schooler. Okay? She's a high schooler. I don't care if it's only 4 years. She's in grade 11. She's in second year high school. She's not ready for a relationship with anyone outside of that world, okay? So I'm glad that the show isn't going full romantic with it. It's like, it's more of a special relationship where they get support from each other, blah, blah. I appreciate that. The undertones are there, but they're not pushing it. Like, he's kind of brother-zoned. Right now, as of episode 6, Baekhyun Jin is brother-zoned. And I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's keep it that way. I think when she turns 21 and he's 25, obviously, the title of the show and the title of the song, you should listen to that. So good. I think they will not be overtly romantic about it until she's 21. Thank God. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hopefully, that's what happens. And yeah, those are all my thoughts as of episode 6. What's the verdict? I'm finishing the show. Usually it's like, okay, will I drop the show? Will I continue but not sure if I'll finish? Or will I finish? I will finish the show. I like the episode so far, and yeah, I've expected that at some point, maybe episode 9, 10, 12, it's going to dip in quality and be a bit slower, and I'm sure the romance, I won't really love it. No matter how well written it is, I'm gonna see some fault in the chemistry that does not exist yet or ever, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But you know, I've stuck to other shows that I didn't like as much as this. So I'm sure I can stick to this. That's the verdict. I'm finishing 25-21. So the next show we will discuss is Forecasting Love and Weather, starring Park Min-young and Song Kang. So, quick background on everything. This is the director of When the Camellia Blooms. Unknown writer, according to Asian Wiki, no previous works. And as for me, watching these actors, this is my first time watching Park Min-young. I tried a few episodes of Healer. It wasn't for me back then. It might be for me now. We'll see. And Song Kang, well, I've watched him in Sweet Home, in Navilera, in Nevertheless. I never liked him in anything. I haven't liked Song Kang in anything I've watched him in. And this is no different. No different, but more on that later. Let's introduce the characters and the plot-ish. So Park Min-young plays Jin Ha-kyung, the director of the forecasting team. Is that what you call it? Yeah. Song Kang plays Lee Shi-woo, who is a extreme weather forecaster. Yep. We have Yoon Park playing Han Ki-jun, who works for the spokesperson's office. Am I right? Yeah. And we have Yura of Girls' Day playing Chae Yoo-jin, who is a reporter for a news site. Something like that. And it's an office romance drama. We'll get into that later, but at least I introduced the characters, so you know who I'm talking about. Okay, so the journey, starting with episode 1. Honestly, I paid so little attention to the conflict at the start, probably because I didn't fully understand the stakes yet. And it's like, I mean, I know forecasting the weather and announcing it to people so they can prepare accordingly is important. Yes, it is. I just didn't feel the stakes of it. To me, the show is like reverse Missing. In Missing, they're a trading company. It's like, dude, we know that arranging, meetings with clients and making sure that the shipment is pushes through by this point in time and just making this deal and getting the best resources and blah blah blah. Like, I know ultimately in the grand scheme of things, trading is not important. Trading will not change the world, but it matters to the characters. It matters to Jangure, to Mr. O, to all the people. It matters to them. And I care about them. And that's why no matter how meaningless their trading work is in the long run, it matters to me. That is my problem with this show. I should care about the weather. My God, the weather is important, okay? People's lives are important. People's lives are at stake if they don't announce that it's going to rain really hard, or the temperature will be super low and so the roads might ice up. Like, that matters in the grand scheme of things. But I cannot be bothered to care because to these characters, I mean, sure, it matters to them. I don't care about them. And that is the core problem of the show. I can't even get to the recap part. Like, let's just get into the problems of the show. I cannot seem to care about these characters, no matter how much time you spend trying to make me care about them and their job. I mean, specifically their job. Because I just feel like the balance of the job stuff and the romance stuff, somehow it feels well balanced, but I don't care about either of them. You know what the verdict of the show is going to be, but just stick with me, okay? Writing wise, they're trying to do this thing where there's a theme per episode, like a weather concept that they try to explain, and then they try to tie it back to the stories of what they're personally going through, the characters. So in episode 1, it was about signals and how Hyuk shouldn't have missed the signals that Han Ki-jun was cheating on her with what's her name, with Chae Yoo-jin. She shouldn't have missed the signals. And like, okay, yeah, interesting concept, but sometimes in other episodes, like, it feels very forced. Like, I have to, do mental gymnastics with the voiceover trying to explain it, in trying to tie it back to the stories or what the characters are going through. It's an okay concept, and they're still sticking to it. They're not dropping it yet, so we'll see how long they try to hold on to that and how effectively they can tie those themes back to the stories of the characters. We'll see. Well, someone else will, not me. You know where this is headed. Okay. So, from episode 1, I already predicted that Han Ki-jun was cheating on her. Come on. The moment he was introduced, where the the passcode of his apartment was different from what Hyuk thought it would be. Come on, he's doing that so that she can't get in when he's with his mistress, whatever. They're not married yet. They were just engaged at that point. But yeah, come on. Predictable as hell. And then after that, I didn't understand where the show was headed with Han Ki-jun and Chae Yoo-jin. Like, I didn't know what we were supposed to feel about them or where they were headed. But, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be wanting them to get back with their former lovers story. I don't think that's where they were headed, but they started just focusing on the marital problems of these two, right? Even if, they're the second leads and they're not very sympathetic by like episode 3-ish. And then suddenly we have to see their marital issues. Because, yeah, what's the point of painting them as like these villains that aren't sympathetic when they are your second leads? Like, you're going to have to hold on to these characters for most of the show. So, yeah, I understand why they had to go to that angle, right? To make you feel bad for them-ish, or just to make you see that, yeah, they did something terrible, but their life isn't picture perfect. And that's why we should also, focus on their stories. Yeah, let's move on to the main leads. And I feel like me not liking the main leads is a symptom of another major problem I have with the show that I will get to later. But first, so the main leads, what will happen to them? One night stand, and then for some reason she feels like she has feelings for him, and then they do secret dating, but it has to be a secret because she just got out of a 10-year relationship with another coworker who got married in the span of a month, and it's just embarrassing. Let's just not do it. And also, she's the director now and this is her subordinate, so whatever. Yeah, one, like, I just don't understand, like, why would you develop feelings for this guy so suddenly, so extremely, to, risk all these safety precautions just to not get caught or whatever. It's like, clearly, sis, you're not okay. Clearly, this is a rebound relationship. Because also, Nishi got cheated on by Chae Yoo-jin, before she and Han Ki-jun ended up together. So, clearly you guys are rebounding. This isn't a very healthy or happy relationship given that you have to hide it so much. So yeah, I don't get it. And oh my god, honestly, if I could skip Song Kang scenes and watch this purely for Park Min Young, I would. But sadly no. Okay. I just don't find Lee Shu charming. I find his advances and his when K-drama male leads are just always there for some reason, conveniently you are there. I hate that. It really pisses me off, especially here. I just find it creepy. Right. And then they went to secret dating, which I felt was so unearned. It was a plot twist at the end of episode 4 that, oh, actually they were secretly dating since that scene at the end of episode 2, blah blah. It just doesn't make sense to me that Jin Hyuk, this woman who went through something traumatic and is kind of, a little ashamed in the office and stuff like that, would just automatically jump into another relationship with a much younger coworker, her subordinate. It just doesn't make sense to me. And her as a character, why is she so incompetent? Why? Why does she seem to always be frazzled and just not ready for anything? And then we say oh, she's the youngest director. She is, she deserved this spot. I hate it when a character is said to be good, but they're not showing that they're good. That really pisses me off. It reminds me of Kang Dong-ju of Dr. Romantic 1, played by Yoo Yun-sok. It's something I really disliked about his character, and it's something I dislike about Jin Hyuk here. In general, it doesn't make sense why they're jumping into this relationship. Maybe it's because the chemistry isn't exploding the way it should. Because if the chemistry were exploding, maybe I would understand why they're jumping into this. But okay. And then, oh my god, end of episode 6, she's going to ask him to move in with her. And I'm just so confused. What's going on, sis? I'm sure they're going to explain it and essentially some sort of cop-out. But it just doesn't make sense to me. If that were genuinely oh, I like you and I want you to move in with me, that would make no sense to me. But if they find a way to, make a cop-out and just use some excuse to make this a cohabitation show, oh my god, all the tropes. And yet I'm not pleased. I'm not happy, even if I get all these tropes. I'm just not happy with the relationship. And I dislike it. I dislike all the tropes. They don't deserve these tropes. And then let's move on to, my major problem with the show. It's that it is nevertheless 2.0. Storytelling-wise, it's nevertheless 2.0. You know why? Because they start out with this main couple who has this unconventional relationship. So in Nevertheless, it was friends with benefits. And then here, it's secret dating, one-night stand, and now maybe cohabitation. Something different for the main leads. And then the writer realizes honestly, I can only go so far with just these tropes or just them. There's so little story here. So I'm going to, flesh out the supporting characters. I'm going to give everyone a story, everyone a love line, everyone's families has issues, everyone gets screen time to do whatever. And that annoys me. See, it's the reverse of 25-21. In 25-21, the main leads have an interesting story, and every now and then we get bits and pieces of the supporting characters. And that's why I want more of the supporting, because I know that the main leads can stand on their own. In Forecasting Love and Weather, the main leads can only fill 10 minutes of actual plot or actual character development. And then the rest has to be filled in by oh yeah, the work problem. Which, by the way, I don't mind having a work problem. You should have a work problem. It's an office drama-ish. But aside from the work problem, someone's family is in trouble, or someone's having marital issues, or one person's developing a love line with another person, and another person feels unappreciated in the workplace. It's just filling up time because the main plot, the main characters have a weak story. That's what I dislike about the show. And that is why I will be dropping it. That's the verdict. I feel like if you as a viewer are invested in any of the characters, or especially the main lead couple's relationship, if you're invested in them, go. More power to you. But it's not for me. I know it's not for me. And I have a lot of shows to watch. I have so many shows to watch. You will see. We have so many more shows to talk about in the future.
I'm telling the truth. 너에게 가는 중. 이제 나를 보.
So that's it for me today. These first impressions episodes, we will be having first impressions of everything, okay? 39 is coming, Grid is coming, Juvenile Justice, the first few episodes, yes. Business Proposal, Military Prosecutor Doberman, yes. Maybe Crazy Love, I'll think about that. But yeah, February is a month. February is the month of premieres. So many new shows to watch. And then the next cycle will come in April, which is exciting for me. There are several shows I'm really looking forward to in April. But for now, so far 25-21 is my favorite of all the shows I'm currently watching. We'll see how that holds up because I know it's going to dip at some point. But it's nice to like something. It's nice to genuinely like something despite my initial apprehensions. Forecasting Love and Weather, I gave up. Episode 3, I knew I was going to drop it. But yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, and tell me what you thought about today's episode. See you soon!